Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Waffle Press Mandalorian series, Cantina Hangouts. Hashtag Cantina Hangouts. Let's get that hashtag out there because I like the name of this show a lot and I like podcasting a lot. I'm your host, Diego Crispo, and who else I like podcasting with a lot is my friend Gina Versa.
You better, yeah. You better.
And the other person I like podcasting with today is Brandon Swofford. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. This is like a nice Thanksgiving gift. I thought I wasn't gonna get invited back from the last one. I'm invited back so fast. I'm feeling good. I'm just really happy to be here. Thankful to be podcasting with you guys today, with two solid dudes and solid Star Wars fans. Because there aren't that many. There aren't that many solid Star Wars fans out there.
No, you know what? I think there are good Star Wars fans out there. I think even Rian Johnson just said it, whose new movie, Knives Out, was just released, and I think maybe the best movie of the year. I don't know yet. But he was saying that even with all the vitriol online, it's really just a small percentage of people. They're just really loud. And I think that's true. Because I have met a lot of great people through the Star Wars fan community. You know, everyone's got their problems, but no one's ever like. I've been thankful to avoid the rampant
crazy people.
Yeah, not even crazy. They're just assholes. Like some people are just assholes, you know. And that's too bad because Star Wars is cool and it should be fun and welcoming. And that's why we're bringing on guests for this series to be fun and welcoming to other people.
Yeah, I was just going to add, well, thanks, Brandon, for joining us. Too many people died on the Endgame podcast, so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
blood was spilled on the Endgame podcast, but it's still one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, that was mine too. Not just because I'm in it, because the energy was there. And
yeah. It was just a lot of fun to talk about.
It certainly was, and the Mandalorian will also be fun to talk about, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think so too. Brandon, why don't you go ahead and let us know your thoughts on the series so far, and a brief thought, or brief thoughts on Chapter 4, Sanctuary, and then we can get into the discussion of the meat of the episode.
Cool. Yeah, I love the series so far. It reminds me of it takes me back to westerns I used to watch with my grandpa and my dad, like the Man with No Name. I think it's the best thing Star Wars has put out in a long time. I think it's all the actors are great, and so much happens in one episode. And there's so many action set pieces that happen. Characters are introduced, and I love the Baby Yoda that the Mandalorian and him have, because Baby Yoda's the kid I want. He's cute and he shuts up and he's used and he has some force. That's why I like. He's cute and he's quiet. He's a perfect kid. And this episode I liked a lot. It kind of felt like a Thanksgiving episode. I wonder if they had it scheduled on here today on purpose because of the whole harvesting in the beginning with the fish, and they had the tents and the huts and their very welcoming community. All the kids hanging out together. It kind of felt like, oh, this is like a Thanksgiving special, a day late. And I thought watching it, I guess Taika Waititi directed this episode because it's so funny, like the random parts where Yoda would be, where Mando and the girl were fighting, and then Baby Yoda would pop up and be like, "You want some soup?" after the fight. I mean, it was so good. Yeah,
it had really great comedic timing for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And then Bryce Dallas Howard's name popped up. I was like, "Oh wow, she's." I don't think I've ever seen anything directed by her before, and I'd like to see more stuff that she does in the future. So yeah, really good episode. This felt like an episode that on Walking Dead would be like stretched out to 5 episodes. It would just be of like people talking and really taking their time with it. But no, just one episode, 41 minutes long.
So it was like if Walking Dead was good.
Yes. If Walking Dead wasn't a complete waste of your time.
Oh, that's so sad. Because remember when that show started and it got like justifiably hyped because that first season's like really good.
Yes, the first season's amazing. And then you're stuck on the farm the second season. You can't wait to get off.
That's what you get when you kick off Academy Award-winning writer Frank Darabont.
Right?
Yeah, like what were you thinking? And this is not an unrelated topic because Frank Darabont was approached by George Lucas to direct one of the prequels, so this is totally on topic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, I guess some quick background. Like when George Lucas was doing the prequel stuff, like leading into Phantom Menace, he would go to his friends and he was like, "I kind of want you to help me out with this or whatever, right?" And like pitching ideas to them. And, everyone told him not to go with a 9-year-old Anakin, but whatever. And everyone was insistent that, George, you should at least do the first one. And, like, your mileage may vary with the prequels. I'm not saying this to be malicious. I just think it's cool that Star Wars started as, like, some weird nerd property that this dude just created because he wanted to hang out with his filmmaker friends. That's kind of amazing. And in some ways, I would say Jon Favreau doing that for The Mandalorian. He's like, "Hey, you want to come direct an episode?" And they're like, "Okay," because who's going to say no to Star Wars?
Yeah.
At this point,
David Lynch.
Okay. Well, David Lynch is my favorite weirdo. That's why he's not going to direct a Star Wars.
Well, how does he do it? It's like, George.
Well, Gene, if you want me to direct a Star Wars, like he'll talk like that.
Is he deaf?
Only in the show. Only in Twin Peaks. But yeah, for the episode, Chapter 4, Sanctuary, directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, like Brandon was saying. Very impressive directing work. It's always a little hard to tell for television, I think. Not in a bad way, just it's cut differently than films a lot of the time. But I felt this episode had a generally pretty strong focus on the story it wanted to tell. Like it really wanted to go for like the Seven Samurai type vibe. And Gene and I were talking about it before the show. And Star Wars is very interested in the Kurosawa of it all. And there was a Clone Wars episode that's very similar to Seven Samurai with a bunch of bounty hunters and Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka, Star Wars fan favorite character. And they always seem to be very interested in like the plot of Seven Samurai. And I won't say that the writers and directors don't understand what makes Seven Samurai work, because these are very clearly talented people. I don't think they commit to showing enough of what story works. And I think they get the broad strokes. You get stuff like, this is a full spoiler discussion for the episode, obviously, but like Mando having to choose between like staying at some place for the Yoda baby, who everyone rightfully loves, and having to go on his own path. And it's it poses the question, and then the episode chooses for him. And it's pretty well done dramatically, but I think the show still struggles with the Mandalorian as a character. So let's start off this episode. We see a quick raid on a village, and you know exactly where the episode's going, and that's not a bad thing. It's a cool premise. Right. That's why Star Wars keeps doing it, because it's just fucking cool, man. Because when you have a Western in space, you're going to do Seven Samurai at some point. That's just how it works, because it's the best movie ever made. We're quickly introduced to Gina Carano. We see the little Yoda baby try to like maneuver his way through this little not even a cantina. It's kind of like just a big hut where him and Mando hang out after they land. And Brandon brought up the great moment where Gina Carano and the Mandalorian are like trading fisticuffs, and they're each trying to like one up the other. And then you get the cute little baby Yoda scene. But Gene, I haven't asked you what you thought of the episode yet. What did you think of the slower pace the opening had to this episode? Minus the cold open, I should say.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed it, where it really gave you enough fleshing out of some of the characters, some of the people, the situation. I was pretty satisfied with it. I was just having trouble with the inconsistency of the Mandalorian himself.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that. I'm okay with shows parsing out information. I was a fan of the first season of Westworld. I haven't gone back to it, so I can't really describe anything about season 2. But that was a show that doled out information very slowly. Watchmen is doing the same thing. It's Damon Lindelof, I think, is fantastic at doing that. I think that's why he and J.J. Abrams complemented each other very well for a short period of time. I kind of like to see them do more work together, honestly. But very good at also establishing characters and getting us in their headspace. Like, we know how certain characters are going to react to certain things, just given their brief introductions and personalities. And I think the Mandalorian's key flaw, the one thing that keeps holding me back from like loving this show, is the Mandalorian himself still. Like, he just, I don't know what he wants, and I'm cool even if the character doesn't know what he wants, but like the first episode I think is always going to just hold it back a little bit because I don't have an understanding of who this guy is. Like, he follows the Mandalorian way of life. He's a hard, badass bounty hunter, and he also has a heart of gold, and he can have all those things, but it feels like it's starting to change from scene to scene a little bit again after the last episodes where I thought it was handled much better. Brandon, what's your takeaway from the Mandalorian character at this point? Because I know a lot of people like the show, but I'm not hearing a lot of discussion about the actual character.
I think I like that they're keeping him mysterious, but I honestly haven't thought about much of his. Like I've thought about it like bits and pieces, but not as deeply as you have, and what he wants, and like, does he want to just betray the Mandalorian life, or does he, or like, why is he, like, he's abandoning what his duty is in the way of like he has to take care of the kid that was supposed to be a bounty and was supposed to get killed. But he's not taking off his mask in front of him. He's not abandoning his armor. And I think that might go as far as like a human standpoint. You're used to doing something your whole life, so it's baby steps. Maybe he's like, I can betray the people, I can betray my boss, and some of the Mandos are gonna fight for me and be cool with me. But I can't take my armor off. I'm just not used to it. Or maybe he just doesn't like the sun. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's just really sensitive. Maybe he just has really sensitive skin, so when he takes off, he's going like, ow, ow, ow. Maybe that's the whole reason behind it. He's like, I can't take it off because I'm just gonna burn like to a crisp.
Yeah, or maybe he's ugly.
So or maybe he's just ugly. Yeah, the hot widow is coming on to him, and he's like, I'm not going to take it off in front of you because I'm ugly as hell. If we're going to do it, I'd rather keep my helmet on.
No, beauty is on the inside.
Yeah, but the fact that I know he's Pedro Pascal, he can't beat that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like that's too good looking of a dude. Like, that's just not...
Some dude.
That's not...
Right.
You can't pull that off. This is an Amazing Spider-Man. You can't fool me. You know? Like... Come on now.
Well, the one that was kind of weird was when he was eating the food and she asked him, when's the last time you took that off? And he's like, oh, probably since I was a kid. And he's looking outside the kid and he takes the helmet off. Like, no one saw him with his helmet off. You know what I mean?
You know what? This might sound weird. That was actually my favorite part of the episode because it was like establishing some like narrative link to him. Like, you know, he had something going on there where it's like, oh yeah, this has like been his life since he was a kid, like he was saying. And so the one time like he can feel comfortable enough to take off the armor is when he's reconnecting by watching like Baby Yoda and the other kids kind of like have their own thing going on. Like, that's what he feels more comfortable with. Like, I think it's a very strong statement that he's almost a little infantile. Like he never got the opportunity to have a childhood. And so he's like reconnecting there, and that's where he's vulnerable. Like, that's a fascinating idea to me. I really like that moment.
Yeah, I'm with you. I liked that part. What I thought was weird is that no one saw him with his helmet off.
Oh yeah, totally. Oh, you know what would be kind of cute if one of the other kids, like the widow's daughter, saw him and then she just waved at him and then he waved back and like it was no big deal. That would have been kind of neat.
Mm.
Like to everyone else, it's like, who is this guy? And then the people that understand him the best are the people that he never got to be.
Mm.
Okay. Okay, I can do that.
Yeah. I would bet money that we're going to get a scene like that. But that's down the line, I guess. Furthermore, in this episode, the beauty of The Mandalorian is that Brandon is right. I agree in a sense that a lot happens. Like, definitely, like, action-wise. Plot-wise, not a lot happens. And, again, I praise the show for this because it makes these discussions much simpler. And because I don't need a million things happening in a TV show all at once. Not everything's Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones. I love the streamlined narrative of this. And I love that The Mandalorian, what works about the character more often than doesn't for me in this series so far, is that you can really just hang a bunch of different plots around the character. And, you know, like 2 episodes ago, he was like fighting like a space rhino. And now he's like defending a small village. Like, that's exactly the kind of thing I want from a Star Wars show, personally. I'm not big on the whole conspiracy stuff, but like these standalone things I like a lot. So we get to, I was gonna say we get to know some of the villagers, but we really just get to know the widow and the 2 dudes that hired him. And even then, that might be kind of pushing it to say we get to know them a little bit. And I think the thing that kind of doesn't make it, and Filoni's 0 for 2 in my category for a solid episode enough. I'm just not crazy about it, but in trying to get that Seven Samurai Kurosawa thing, it's still missing the villager component to it. It's still missing the more than just genre flourish. It needs to build into something a little more so than just like we're fighting for our home. Like we need to see more of that. I hope I'm not making sense, because I wanted to like this more than I did after liking the last 2 episodes. Bryce Dallas Howard, innocent, of course, though. Yeah, she's the best. I did like the Lothcat appearance, though, for the Star Wars Rebels fans. I don't know if anyone else caught that.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
The Lothcat?
Yeah, the Lothcat. It's a little... I guess they're close to Lothal, because those are just native to Lothal, right?
I think like maybe they could be on other planets. I mean, they're maybe domesticated.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. That makes sense. I guess because not everyone watches cartoons like us, adult men. The Lothcats are that weird creature in the little diner area, and they're from Star Wars Rebels, which is a wonderful little show that you should also watch if you have Disney Plus right now, because Star Wars is cool. And as we go on with the episode, we get little training montages. Gina Carano agrees to help out the Mandalorian. Because I guess you need 2 mercenaries for the job. I like Gina Carano in this. What do we think of that? Because I think she's not always been championed as like a great actress. She's got the action down. But what was our takeaway from her performance this episode? I think this was kind of her big comeback.
I thought she was good. I keep forgetting her name. I haven't seen her in that many things. I think I've only seen her in Deadpool and Fast and Furious 6, so I don't really know if she has a lot of range, but from what I've seen, she doesn't really get a chance to show it. I mean, I'm sure if she worked with someone on a higher, but like it worked in a drama or some sorts or some Oscar bait, I'm sure she'd do fine. But as far as like her as an action hero and a mercenary, I think she's great. I think she's built like one, and I believe her as someone who'd train the villagers to be ready for battle. I liked her in this. I hope we see more of her, because she's on the banners and posters. So I assume she's going to be in more episodes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gene, what about you?
Yeah, I thought she was pretty fine in the episode, and didn't. I believe she's an MMA fighter. If used to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the physicality she nailed pretty well, but yeah, I want to see more of the character to really like give a definitive statement.
Yeah, it feels like she's not getting a lot to do. I still praise the supporting cast of the series, because if you notice, there's a lot of co-starring roles, but then they'll be like Carl Weathers or Werner Herzog, who only appear in like every other episode so far.
Yeah, when they show up.
Right.
When they show up, yeah, and I like that. Like you don't need to follow every character all the time. Like again, I really love the idea of this stripped down narrative. Like it's just a simple enough premise so you can kind of have these side one-offs, and it's like, yeah, that's also just as cool and valid as the main story.
Yeah, I mean, it helps with the budget for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it helps with the budget too, but it's also just like creatively very interesting to me. It's you don't see a lot of shows take this approach anymore. Like obviously the big one you brought up last time, I think, Gene, was Samurai Jack. Very simple premise, but also one of the greatest series of all time.
Go watch Primal.
Gene told me the first episode of Primal, and it owns. But yeah, Gina Carano,
I gotta watch that.
Was pretty good. Oh yeah, definitely watch Primal, Brandon. It's the shit. But Gina Carano, I thought was pretty good. Also doesn't get a lot to do. I've never thought she was like terrible, if I'm being honest. She also starred in the Steven Soderbergh film Haywire, which is a really solid little action film. But I believe she was also dubbed over in post-production. So
really,
yeah. But physically, she like that was she had that down, and I think the physicality of performers is really important to note too. I think a lot of people go to dialogue, and like that is part of it. Acting is all these things, but someone like Keanu Reeves, who I've always gone to bat for, even before John Wick, is a great physical performer. He's got range like emoting capabilities, I guess, if you want to be more critical of him, but he's a great physical performer, and I think Gina Carano is kind of the same, at least like broad category of performer. I'd really like for the character to come back because I don't remember them even saying her name. I'm sure they did. I'm not knocking the show, but
interesting. Yeah, I don't think they did either. Huh.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will be like, actually, in scene whatever at minute whatever and second whatever, and you're not going to be wrong. I'm just saying I don't remember this, which is not great.
No, but we don't know the two lead characters' name. We just call them the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda.
No, that's true. But all the other characters, I'm not going to put my foot down and be like, yes, show has to do this. But so far on the show's terms, it has done a really great job of filling out the world with really fun supporting characters. Like, I'm never going to stop freaking out about Werner fucking Herzog being in this show. Like, what the fuck? Awesome. That's so awesome. And Gina Carano,
he's the MVP.
Oh, he totally is.
He's the MVP of the show because he's the one who made sure that the puppet of Baby Yoda stayed on. I don't know if you guys saw that article, but apparently on the first day of shooting, he fell in love with the Baby Yoda puppet, and he got a little emotional apparently. And then they were going to do a take without him, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, we're going to do a take with CGI just in case we don't like the puppet." And he's like, "You are cowards! Leave it! You are cowards! What are you doing?"
Oh yeah, no. Werner Herzog he's both someone I would be fearful for my life around, and also trust implicitly because he is like a capital A artist, know, and so like he's
same.
He's very passionate about like supporting other artists too, and so the fact that he's totally gone to bat for this little Baby Yoda feels like so valid. It's just like, yeah, of course he would. He believes in the arts, and like, not that CG is not art either, but like if you could create something like that, like that's, I think he sees the merit in that. But tragically, Werner Herzog is not in this episode. What is in this episode though are some little alien bandits who I wish we saw more of, and I think this is also a criminal mistake on the part of all these Magnificent Seven Samurai things. We don't need to get to know the villains more. They just need to have some, like, they need to represent something. Because anybody could have a bunch of bandits going in like this. The last Magnificent Seven that got made, I thought kind of had the same problem. They're just kind of like, these are henchmen we have to defeat. And whereas with Seven Samurai and even the original Magnificent Seven, there's a little more going on there. It's like, it's kind of the idea of something, you know, like the dying Old West, or in Seven Samurai, it's the it's basically, it's like Godzilla. It's Japan coming out of the Second World War and dealing with, you know, this just overwhelming sense of defeat. And like, that's a pretty depressing movie, even as much as I'm praising it as like a great like adventure film to anyone that hasn't seen it yet. So just a heads up on that. And here they are just kind of like fun henchmen. And they also have an AT-AT though, or ATST, excuse me. So I don't get nerd rage. They have an ATST that is, I actually found pretty intimidating, and not just because it had red eyes. What was your guys' thoughts on the reveal of an ATST? I didn't know if we were going to see any of that stuff here.
Oh, I was glad how smart it was, because when the battle of Endor happens, they're just, all the ATSTs are just like getting like knocked over by logs and like sticks and twigs.
Yeah, because the Ewoks are smarter than everyone.
Right. So it was cool to see it not get. Well, at first it was a little hesitant to fall into those traps again. Saw the play-by-play.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I liked how it kind of had a personality in a weird way, of how like the way it walked and stalked. I felt like this machine has feelings. It's kind of thinking, and that part where he's like up on I'm calling it a he. I'm related to this machine.
Yeah,
he's like right by the pond, and he's about to go in. I could feel that he knew the pond was there. He's like, I'm not going in there. Oh, I'm not going. You can't get me this time. And he finally goes in. But yeah, it was really cool, scary. But I'm kind of with you, Diego, on the bad guys. We don't know it. We don't really know their motivation at all. We just feel like they just want the food and the harvest, and they don't like these villagers. Maybe that's it. I thought they kind of looked like bulldogs at first. The way their face was shaped, but would you want to see more of these species in later episodes or later?
Yeah, if they did something else with them, you know, if they maybe like, I'd like to see a nice character from the same species. Yeah, because I mean, like if they're just random henchmen, like I can roll with it if there was something more going on, but I didn't feel that there was, honestly. It's missing the meat and potatoes of a story like this. I think a lot of it's got some heart, but it's still missing what makes it like beat. But yeah, I'd like to see more, because I like Star Wars. It's very open, and so I think like obviously these are species that don't exist. But like if there's a species with like a villain in it, I don't want to see that species as just villains all the time. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I feel like that would make the universe feel a lot bigger. You know. And so, like, maybe, like, the Mandalorian sees another one, and he's like, he pulls a gun out, and then he's like, well, what are you doing, man? Like, what is that?
Yeah, that'd be fun. Like in Dark Crystal, how there's that nice Skirksy, I think's the name of the species, the one voiced by Andy Samberg.
Yeah!
Yeah. I can see that. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Also, watch the Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. It's the best show of the year.
A lot of good shows,
I know. I still believe this, though. I don't think you understand how much I love the Dark Crystal, Brandon. I went on a journey this year with my love of that series.
I'm glad someone else did.
Yeah, I know. There's like 3 of us.
It's a good show.
So I need one more. I just need one more to tie it up before it leads into the original film. But we got to go back to Star Wars to finish this up. I really like how intimidating the AT-ST was, and like the Bryce Dallas Howard, she composes like this great shot. I don't know if it was like her or like a CG team. So props to whoever's responsible for it. But it's the ATST facing down against the village, and it's just this awesome wide shot. Like someone's gonna make that their wallpaper at some point, I believe. Like it's just too cool of a shot to not end up as one of those. And it just perfectly encapsulates the conflict. You know, like the big monster that's overwhelming the small, like almost helpless village. It's just it tells you the entire story of the episode right there. And then you get to the big action. The action is pretty good. I think it goes a little too big for what it earned. I don't think it earned like this huge like. It felt like it was going bigger than it needed to, honestly, a little bit for me. I think it would have been kind of neat to just have the ATST be the villain, honestly. But that's rewriting the show, I think. So I apologize for that. They throw down. Of course, they win. There's some fun interplay as they try to take down the ATST, and eventually, of course, it collapses. It falls over. They defeat it. And as they're all celebrating, we find out that weeks have gone by. At the end, when Gina Carano says that when the Mandalorian says that they brought a little heat with them, so he's not going to stick around for long, but he's going to leave Baby Yoda around, and everyone loves Baby Yoda, including the little village kids, which is really touching. And Baby Yoda does not eat this episode. He does not eat a frog this episode. Excuse me. He eats a soup like a normal baby should. Don't feed babies frogs. I just feel like that should be said.
He's 50 years old. He'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, his digestive system can support that, I guess. I don't know, Baby Yodas. And another bounty hunter tracking them, and Gina Carano saves Baby Yoda by shooting the bounty hunter in the back, and they realize they can't stay there. They fly off to the next adventure.
That was a cool edit. When you saw the gun was going to be shot at Baby Yoda, and then you heard then they cut to Baby Yoda, and he's okay, and then they cut to the bounty hunter that Gina Carano shot. That was cool. I liked that reveal. I thought that was really neat. Yeah,
that was very good.
Yeah, that would crush so many fans. That would have
right?
Baby Yoda.
Mm-hmm. That would have devastated them.
Do you think they're going to? At some point, because I thought they were going to kill him, and I feel like they are going to kill him still at one point.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that. But go ahead, Gene. I have a whole theory laid out.
I don't think so. Yeah, I really don't think that they'll come off.
I don't know.
I don't think it'll be like a murder or anything, or assassination, or even a shootout. I think it'll just be like the end of Return of the Jedi, with Yoda going into the Force, right? He quote unquote dies, but he's really just leaving this existence for another. And I think Baby Yoda's going to do that too. And so, because this isn't me being like it's all connected or anything like that. I just think narratively, for where this fits in the Star Wars universe, you kind of know that this character has to leave at some point. It's like the same thing with Rebels. Like minor spoiler, you know that certain characters are not going to make it through because of who they are. And I think Baby Yoda's going to do the same thing. Like at some point, I don't know if it's this season, next season, whenever the show ends, Baby Yoda will leave the Mandalorian and go back like to the Force. And I think the arc that they're trying to do is that he's like a hardened badass, doesn't care about anyone, and his experience with Baby Yoda helps him be more open and caring to everyone, right? So he'll go on and be the best like Mandalorian he can be without being ruthless and being like with having some humanity. And that'll be like the big broad arc of the series. The problem is that they haven't really set him up as like someone who doesn't give a shit about anything else. He keeps giving a shit about people, which is nice, but the kind of I don't think it's having the effect they want. But yeah, I think Baby Yoda is a goner by the end of this. But not in a cruel way, just as like this, the Force is not present in between the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, right? Like Luke's Academy obviously goes very terribly, and unless Baby Yoda goes there.
Oh no! No, I hope
Yeah.
they don't do that. No, that'd be horrible. No.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
they.
want that.
I think that's
Oh,
too
no.
dark, and I'm glad
Oh,
that that's not a possibility, because that would be super fucked up, and I don't think Star Wars should ever be super fucked up. So
well, I don't want like Mandalorian at the end to add it to a CGI Mark Hamill, and then have a little baby Solo be like, he's so cute. I don't know. I don't want that.
Yeah. No.
oh no, yeah, I don't want that either. I never. I love Star Wars. I love Luke Skywalker. I never want to see those characters again. And
I agree.
that's out of complete like revere for the characters, you know.
I agree. I'm with you. Except in Rise of Skywalker, when we see them as Force Ghosts or whatever. That's fine.
Yeah.
But,
That totally works.
Yeah, I don't need to see Luke or Chewie ever again.
Yeah, love them with all my heart, but you got good sequels out of them. You did the impossible.
Yeah.
Time to leave them behind.
Yeah, and this is a huge world. This is a huge universe. Let's see other people. Let's see other species.
Yeah. Let's keep seeing, like, The Mandalorian's such a great, like, it's got such a great hook for us to be able to see all these different cultures and species and planets. And I think it's still just got this great potential that I know people are saying it's like a movie. It's like a movie, and I so disagree, because a movie would have more time to like explore these things on a case by case basis, you know. And I just feel like The Mandalorian is capping itself a little bit, and it doesn't need to. I'm enjoying it. I wasn't crazy about this episode, but I enjoyed it, and I know the show can be like the best it can be, and right now I'm just not feeling it. Those are my last thoughts. Please, the two of you, wild out. What did you think about the rest of the episode, and what would you like to see next, Brandon?
I'm really excited for Giancarlo Esposito's character. He's one of my favorite actors right now, so I'm excited to see what he's gonna do. What I want to see, I hope there's like I'm sure there'll be like another tender moment between the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. Like maybe there'll be a scene where Baby Yoda's drowning and the Mandalorian's got to save him, and then to save him, he's got to give him CPR, and that's how he takes his helmet off. Maybe. Yeah. I'm just making stuff up, just speculating. But I'm what I want to see. I hope the pace just keeps going. I hope it doesn't slow down. And I'm loving the show so far. It's my favorite show right now, next to Watchmen. The only thing I don't like about the show is that ugly Star Wars logo that plays.
Oh yeah, I don't care for that logo.
If I see that in front of Rise of Skywalker, I won't actually do it, but I'll want to walk out because I hate it.
I don't know what's just Lucasfilm is fine.
Just Lucasfilm is fine. I don't know if they made it for the common folk to put it there and be like, hey, you're watching a Star Wars show. You know what I mean? Because in every Star Wars movie, they have a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, which I thought they were going to do here. But no, that maybe they're just going to have that logo for the series. That's what I'm hoping. I hope that's not before movies. But I mean, you're already in the rabbit hole. If you're going to use it, I guess just use it for the series, and I'll love it. It's just a logo.
You know, I didn't even think about that. For the series, I guess, because I guess they're just like used to spoon feeding audience, and I don't think audiences need it. I think a lot of people will say like, because audiences won't know they're watching a Star Wars show. People fucking know. If you're going to seek out The Mandalorian on Disney Plus, you know you're watching a Star Wars show. It's not that uncommon. But in front of a movie, I will like riot. Like, that's ridiculous.
That would be weird if they play a logo that says Star Wars, and then a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Star Wars is going to be completely underwhelming.
Yeah.
It's so underwhelming saying.
Well, it's getting annoying that they still can't figure out what to do with certain aspects of the logos or the titles. Like Rogue One just has what was it, a long time ago, and then like Solo doesn't have it, and then then all their TV shows have this weird logo. It's not consistent. I don't know. It's a really picky thing. And I'm like,
I'm cool. I'm honestly cool with the movies not continually doing a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away or an opening crawl. But because of how dense the world building tends to be, I also think just it might help on occasion to have an opening crawl.
Right. Yeah.
Just to help streamline things, because Rogue One just drops you into it, and I like that. But I'm also a Star Wars fan and not a casual movie viewer. Like that, I can see being like a demand, being like, okay, you need to put an opening crawl so people know what's going on.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess with reading, you lose a lot of people. You lose a lot of audience members, not Star Wars fans because they love the opening crawl. Most people do.
Yeah.
That's nostalgic for them. But I feel like most audiences, the more generic ones, don't really want to read when they go to movies.
I don't know. It's the opening crawl. It's iconic. But just wrapping up, I guess the thing I would want to see in the next couple episodes are, I guess, like certain closures to arcs that we've seen with the baby Yoda, getting to know more about him. I'm really interested in having him get a name would be nice too. Yobo.
Do you want to know where he came from? Like, do you want to know if he's Yoda's son?
No, because Yoda was celibate, so I don't think he had any kids. No, I just want to know.
No, Yoda was clapping them cheeks.
Yeah.
That's what the internet told me.
Yeah. No, I don't like just how he got to the Empire and all that. How the Empire found out about him. I'd be okay with that. Just know a little bit more about him.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not super eager to like have everything explained, but yeah, just enough to be like, okay, I see how we got here, at least,
Yeah, exactly. Instead of, he's not his mystery box.
Yeah, I think our buddy and co-hosting pal Matt Garingo is currently on sick leave right now, so we wish him the best. But to shout him out, he had a great comment about Star Wars right now, and he's liked a lot of the stuff that's been coming out too. Might be a bigger fan of Force Awakens than I am, actually. And he said, mystery box is the worst thing to ever happen to Star Wars. And I think I might agree.
I think I would probably agree, yeah.
Yeah, for Force Awakens, I get it. Last Jedi didn't have that problem. And neither did Rogue One or Solo. Those had different problems. Movies that I enjoy, by the way. But yeah, please, storytelling is not withholding information. It's helping us understand information.
Yes.
And I think when The Mandalorian gets that down, I think I will be completely on board with it instead of holding it at an arm's distance. They say keep your friends closer, your enemies closer. That's me with the show right now. I'm like, I like you, but I got my eye on you.
Yeah.
Brandon, thank you so much for coming on.
No, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah, please let's try to have you on again soon, either for this or something else, because you're always a blast to talk to. Why don't you let people know where they can find you online? Because I know you're doing some new stuff.
Yeah, you can find me at BSwaffs on Instagram. That's where I'm posting a lot of my art. Doing a lot of animation, working on some personal projects right now, and you can find me on Twitter, I guess. I don't usually. Sometimes I put some jokes on there, but don't put a lot of my work on there, so you don't need to go on there. And I guess you can still subscribe to me on BMoneyrulz. I haven't uploaded a video. I'm a little embarrassed because I think I said last time I was on here that, like, hey, I haven't done any videos yet, but watch out. They're coming. Something new will be coming. And nothing's come out yet. But I I guess you can go subscribe if you haven't already, and you'll see if something does come out, or maybe nothing will ever again. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah, we'll look at it.
And Gene.
Gene9892, Twitter and Instagram.
And you can follow me at Twitter at the Diego Crespo. Check out the Waffle Press on YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Patreon, Spotify. All of those links down below. If you're watching on YouTube, fuck YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're listening on everything else, that's great too. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Really quick, what would you guys do for Thanksgiving, Baby Yoda? What would you give Baby Yoda for Thanksgiving? There you go. That's English.
I would give him, from like the food I cook, a big plate of breaded macaroni. I think he would like that.
Probably. That's good. I like that one. I'd probably just go to the lake and give him a frog.
Give him a frog.
I know that's what he.
Well, frog
I know
legs.
that's what he wants.
Yeah, you can make frog legs.
Likes. Yeah, and I like to see the carnage of animals eating other animals. So.
Or escargot.
Yeah. 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 There you go.
No, I want Baby Yoda to get big and strong, just like his papa. So I would put him on Endor to hunt the Ewoks.
Oh no!
Oh no! You're killing the kid.
No. Baby Yoda is more powerful.
No, I don't know. Ewoks.
He lifted a rhino. He lifted a space rhino.
All right.
I'm telling you.
Ewoks.
And then the way he can just like unhinge his jaw, those Ewoks are done.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everyone. We have been professionally unprofessional.